Live in Mission Square at the California Mid-State Fair, it's the Cork Dorks. Adam Montiel and Jeremy West.
We're just the opening act for Kenny Taylor, I heard.
Yeah. James Taylor? That's a big act, bro.
Kenny Taylor squared this year. I heard he's playing 2 nights.
Oh, damn. Good for him.
1, so, yeah.
Nice. He must be, that's pretty rad. Mission Square really is the place to be at the fair. On a day when it's the mid-90s, we are the coolest place to be at the fairgrounds. Literally, figuratively, we got the shade. We got that Templeton Giznap coming through. And we got our good friends at Grey Wolf and Barton Family Wines. I'm so excited to have Joe Barton here, old friend of the Cork Dorks, Brad Ely. It's been cool to watch him from his Topless days. And then
Did you say Topless?
Topless Creek, right?
Those days are still here. Topless.
Oh, Topless, yeah. Oh, I follow him on Instagram. No, but this from the old Topless Creek days. I think I saw you in Hospice Aron, and then I would catch up with you and see. But to see you come over to Grey Wolf and Barton Family Wines, you're killing it. You know, Joji came in for a liquid lunch, and Joji came in for a liquid lunch last week, and it was really cool because like we have the 20s. And they were so good. I was like, dude, these are all Brad's new wines. So that felt really good, I imagine, to start seeing your new wines start to come alive.
Yeah. It's nice to see everything kind of come to fruition and be able to taste them.
Yeah.
And kind of see where the direction of...
But kind of to have other people taste them.
Well, yeah.
Like, I mean, Grey Wolf's this brand that's been getting better and better and better, and now you're the winemaker at it, and you're working with Joji, and it's like, these are now available for the Grey Wolf and Barton family fans to really enjoy.
Sure, and there's kind of a new spin on all those wines, too. Joe and I are playing around a lot and trying new things. We just tasted the Pet Nat, orange wine, some carbonic Grenache, all these things that we think are really fun. To just kind of keep things fresh and relevant and entertaining for us. So trying some of these 20s, like you guys tried the orange wine last week.
So cool.
Just fun.
Yeah, just fun.
Yeah.
Really fun.
Yeah.
Joji, how do you walk and balance all those plates of, like, you are a winemaker yourself. You
trying to retire.
You took over this brand, in your 20s in an untimely fashion where you didn't know, like, wow, you're sitting on top of these barrels with your buddy. You're like, whoa.
Nah, you still remember that story.
That's a crazy story. You're like, whoa. Funny. This is happening.
Good old Ernie.
This is the real deal now. And then also, you're the brand proprietor with the family, and now it's like we got a winemaker, and so there's some direction. There's obviously some mentoring, but there's obviously letting, you have Brad for a reason because he's good at what he's doing, and he's enlightening you to some things. How are you walking and balancing all these really cool new opportunities and experiences with the winemaker?
What was cool with Brad when I saw his resume, I was like, that's exactly what I was looking for. Somebody who was just well-traveled, wasn't in that, Paso, lineage of like, this is how we do it in Paso. Because there is and that's not a bad thing. There's just a lot of people who have worked around these circles, and there's a vein of knowledge that is just what you learn in Paso, and there's so much else to learn out there because I've traveled a lot. So, as I've traveled the world, I've really learned a lot and broadened my own horizons. So I was stoked to see that Brad had been out there, and he saw it from a different level. And it starts with the whites. I mean, the whites alone that you've been tasting, that alone, the idea that we went about it is completely different than what we did in the past. I mean, we're talking earlier picks, full malolactic, all native fermentation. I mean, these are in not so much that it's nothing that's been done before, but it's a process, and it's patience, and it's really being committed to the idea of it rather than kind of shifting gears and maybe changing as you go. I mean, we were like, no, this is how we're going to do it. This is where it's going to end up.
Stick it out, and
and he's like, believe in it, and I always have, and that's where I always wanted to be. But it was just nice to have somebody who was committed to saying, hey, I got this. I'm going to take this all the way through, and when we get to the other side, you're going to be stoked. And then the whites in 2020 are a testament to that. We're going to bottle the last ones next week, and they are, hands down the best stuff we've ever made.
Are you concerned he might go back to Australia anytime soon?
No, he's getting married next month. He ain't going anywhere.
I just didn't know.
He bought a house in St. Louis. This dude's stuck here.
I don't think they're going to let me back in this time. Well,
no, that's awesome. No, I'm happy for you. I'm happy for both of you. It seems like it's a great relationship, and it's always great when you're looking for something. And this guy was probably hard to find, right?
Yeah,
not every day.
Super lucky. I mean, just happened to be that he had left Tablas Creek and was really looking to get back here. Left for a hot minute and then wanted to get back into Paso.
Yeah, actually, I left Tablas to go chase my soon-to-be wife. And she was living in Santa Cruz, so I chased her up there, and we were kind of living the city life and kind of like, is this really what we want to do? Is this how we want to raise our kids? Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it was just a bit more fast-paced than I was used to.
Santa Cruz is a city?
Oh, man. If you ever get stuck in traffic in Santa Cruz.
Oh, really? I've only been to the beach town, I guess.
Yeah.
It's bigger than you think.
Absolutely.
It's just,
Well, she works over the hill in the tech industry.
Oh, sure. Over there.
So, yeah, nutty over there. I was actually working in Carmel, so doing a commute where it was an hour to work in the morning, but sometimes 3 at night with traffic.
At another winery?
At another winery, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it all just kind of worked out. I started looking, and I actually got hooked up with Joe from Neil Collins at Tablas Creek. So
nice.
I told him I was looking, and he was like, we will get you back here, and we will not stop until it happens.
Nice.
So
good.
super thankful.
That's cool to have those connections and those relationships from past, opportunities and situations.
Absolutely, yeah.
That pay it forward, and that's really cool. And we've never interviewed anybody on the Australian no-fly list, so I think this is it's a real treat for us.
Well, I didn't pay my taxes either, so I really can't go
you're
back.
done. You're done down under for a while.
Yeah.
Done down under. That's when you write the book. That's what it's going to call.
Got done down under.
What is we got a red in the glass now?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So this is actually a perfect segue into what Brad and I kind of came up with. So, obviously, he didn't, start on the winemaking on 2019, but took him on very early. I mean, came in January. The wines were babies. So early on, we kind of were chasing some different wines. We're like, hey, let's look at this differently. You've got these great wines that are started. And we have brands, and we have wines, and we have, things that we're, really consistently are going through a wine club that we're chasing. But we're like, hey, maybe we should make a few other things. And this was probably maybe the first one we came up with. And we didn't have a name for it for a while. I don't even know what we had some. Intergalactic, I think, was the first.
Listen to the Beastie Boys?
Yeah. Sabotage, yeah.
Another Beastie Boys.
Yeah, there was a Beastie Boys kind of ideology. We were trying to get more relevant, or at least I'm trying to get more relevant. That's obviously, why I brought Brad on, because I'm starting to age. I'm starting to age out of this world, my friend.
Yeah, he thinks the barge is like cool. It would almost be called Rhythm of the Night.
Exactly. It's electric boogaloo.
Right, yeah.
But so California Love came about mostly because Brad and I, the Coonwa and the Grenache were fantastic, both from Glen Rose Vineyard. An extraordinary site, vine age, all that good stuff. And, we knew we were going to make the Coonwa. We had 2 punches. Right on. Coonwa's done. Hot-blooded. Perfect. Be great. And I think it was Brad was like, hey, we should just maybe see if we could just throw this Grenache and this Coonwa together. Well, 1 punch of each. And it was a one-time blend. We're like, yep, that's it.
Yeah,
got to do it.
50-50.
One out of everything in the cellar. Every time we had someone and we're tasting barrels, this is the one that we tasted the most, hands down.
So approachable, though.
Yeah.
It just hits you in the mouth, and it's soft, it's subtle, it's very elegant. Well,
and that's to me like the symbiosm that Brad and I have had is like we want to chase more wines like this. We know that there's these. As we go through, we'll try these wines that are, big and masculine, but
everything that Paso
everything
that Paso can do.
Yeah, the expectation is there. We're like, but what if we chase some stuff that was a little bit more fragrant, a little bit more approachable, a little bit more, soft in the palate, Pinot-esque in those kind of realms, because you don't really have those types of wines in Paso for the most part.
Yeah, ripeness and power is something that we have in heaps here, but trying to find the elegance and the freshness, and finding the varieties that will lend you to be able to make those wines.
Something you drink today, like on a hot day.
We've got this thing sitting in a bucket of ice.
Just sitting on top of the ice.
Just a slight chill.
I like that.
There we go.
So this is 51% Grenache, and I'm so familiar with Paso Grenache being those big, bold. So how do we change this? Is it picking it earlier?
Grenache. I'll give you the secret. Most Grenaches that you taste with power aren't all Grenache. Generally, there's some Syrah in there that's picked up some meat, give you some backbone.
Okay.
Actually, I'll let's see. What do I got? Is that a 13? The 14 was when I made the fake Grenache. When I put 20% Syrah in there and called it Grenache. Yeah, that was the fake Grenache. Where it's like, that's Grenache is so big. Wow, that's what Grenache is. You're like, no, it's not. Not from Paso. Generally, Paso is fragrant, fruit driven. when you get down in Edna Valley in the cooler climates, that's where you get Grenache, more textures, more meat, more tannin because it has more hang time and the tannin develops around here.
I like to compare Grenache to almost like the Pinot of the Rhone. I mean, with Pinot, you can have this really light, very pretty flowers and roses, and then you can go all the way down to meat and earth and game and tons of structure and tannin, and I think that's similar to Grenache, especially in the soils that it's grown in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like Pinot, you can get a lot of the way the grower was doing things and a lot of the way the winemaker chose to kind of,
super transparent.
Things.
Sure.
Yeah, with Grenache, and it's why, we'll taste ones, whether it's like, that dude Cayenne, I think of Los Olivos, or
Big Mike.
Big Mike, or maybe like
Thick Mike.
Or Jordan, or Jordan.
He wasn't always Thick Mike. He was a wild little surfer kid.
Really?
Yeah, I met him. It's funny. I met him with Nancy Greeno.
Okay.
On a kayak trip from a Cork company a long time ago.
In Hawaii?
No, we were at Shell Beach. You know how they got that Shell Beach?
Sure.
Homeboy who
must not have been buying enough Cork.
Not yet. Exactly. That was early on. Hey, back in those days, you didn't get big boy Cork.
But when
like
you
that
find people that really love Grenache and have their own kind of way that they like to do it, him, Jordan, or maybe it's Badger or whatever. Like, it's fun. This is a new way for Barton Family Wines to say, hey, this is what we got about Grenache, and this is really beautiful.
And we buy a lot of Grenache. So I mean, we're sticking our flag in the Grenache world big time. Like we're sourcing.
And is this a mix of a lot of different sites?
No, this is just Glenrose, but
just Glenrose.
And with the Counoise, but we've got we're going to probably have. Currently we have 3 sites of Grenache, but we're probably going to have more like 4 to 5 here in a short order. That for us, I think that's where I want to go. I want to really, and I don't want it to be Grenache that are trying to mimic a Syrah. I want it to be Grenache, more like almost like Pinot. I mean, gosh, you can go drink Pinots from all over the place, and there's some pretty heady Pinots out there. I mean, you can get some Santa Rita Hills, Pinots, Sonoma Coast Pinots that are pretty rich.
Yeah. Pushing the ripeness, pushing the booze, and getting pretty big boy.
Yeah,
lots of wood.
That's how you chase it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to do it.
Well, more of these Grenache sites that come on for us are going to showcase how different Grenache can be, and that'll be really fun for all of us to try, in a few years, where you'll really see how site-specific it can be. Like this, for the Glenrose, it's always our lightest Grenache in the cellar.
Yeah.
Some of that is to do with vine age and the site, and also how we vinify.
Mm-hmm. But also probably the most elegant.
Absolutely, hands down.
The most subtle. It's got the most layers on the backside. And
do those parameters kind of run parallel, like the lightest and the most elegant? Or do they sometimes seem to be similar, or can they vary a little bit?
I could think that's a fairly broad brush that you can stroke. Because you look at really big extracted wines, they generally don't have as much elegance. Things that are a little bit softer, more subdued. Yeah, there's a little bit more elegance there. I think it's a pretty, generalized way to look at it.
Okay.
I mean, I could probably totally contradicting it.
Yeah, to me, elegance just means usually that tannin isn't so present there. It's a little bit more approachable, and I don't know, you just don't have that big, overpowering mouthfeel.
Yeah, that's interesting because it's kind of like something a little bit subjective, David.
Yeah.
When I think of elegance, I think of more like, sometimes they'll talk about like a more feminine wine or a more, or I mean, honestly, you look at something you can read through or something that's a little bit, just a little bit. And I hate to say the word lighter because I remember having one winemaker that one of us said something to in the last 10 years doing the show. We're like, oh, don't use the word light. Like you always use those wrong adjectives and you end up offending the winemaker.
Yeah.
But, delicate. Don't use the word delicate. But you know what I mean? Like, I guess elegance is part of the
That's why we ask these questions, because we're always learning, right?
That also depends on the winemaker.
Yeah.
And
how big of a jerk they are?
Right. Or just how touchy. But I mean,
sensitive.
You think of like,
who was that winemaker? Call him out. Come on.
Yeah, no. I was thinking of like winemakers who maybe we've said things.
Is that Joe Barton?
They'll get it. It's Joe Barton.
He said, "You morons."
Like you don't know light. You know Bud Light. That's all you know.
Right.
That's Dorks.
Joe Barton, Barton Family Wines, Grey Wolf. Brad Ely is the winemaker there. We are here in Mission Square. We got more coming up. Stick around.